Everyone thinks the director of Sila Orphanage is a cold-hearted villainess, so when the children run away, who would expect her to chase them through the rain, risking everything to save them? After clearing a crushing 1,000 gold debt by outwitting a furious baron, she's left with only 108 gold, and a house full of traumatized kids who flinch at her every kindness. The city gossips claim she's heartless, but the children secretly wonder, has their greatest enemy become their only hope? With scheming nobles at the door and a mysterious glowing book that rewrote her fate, can the orphanage survive one director's impossible promise to protect them all? Descartes' famous quote echoes in my mind, but sometimes our bodies react before our thoughts can catch up. Lodi! Rwanda erupts, her voice cutting through the silence. Do you have any idea how expensive that plate was? The blonde boy, visibly shaking, stammers. I'm sorry. She continues berating him, calling him useless and unable to even wash a dish properly, with a red-haired girl watching from the background. The woman's rage boils over, her fury painting the background a deep, intense red. Suddenly, a woman in a red dress freezes, her wide eyes capturing a moment of shock before she springs into action, her heels clicking urgently across the floor. Director? The angry woman stammers, caught off guard by the unexpected intervention. With a firm grip and piercing gaze, the director demands, "What do you think you're doing?" A glowing book hovers before me, the catalyst that changed everything. My voice rings with authority. Born from a moment that would reshape my entire world. In a city drowning with 1 million unemployed young people, I was just another face in the crowd. An orphan with nothing but a high school diploma, I had no connections, no solid education. Getting a job seemed impossible, until I caught a lucky break at a small company. Just when stability seemed within reach, the company collapsed, leaving me back on the streets. "Kids, I'm back!" I call out, pizza boxes in hand. As the de facto head of the household, I supported the orphanage financially. These kids were my family, and the institution's survival was always hanging by a thread. When the orphanage shut down, someone asked me about the children's fate. I had no answer. Just a crushing silence. Surrounded by scattered toys, the weight of loss crushed me, guilt consumed me for failing to protect the children. Aimless days blurred together in a comic cafe, instant noodles and books my only companions. Just as boredom threatened to consume me, a story caught my eye. A novel dripping with romantic cliches. But something was different. If I get too close, they'll only push me away. That's the last thing I want. The surveillance bell rings, and I'm already planning to rip it off the moment I return. I debate telling the kids I'm stepping out, but decide against it. They're still shaken from this morning's events. A girl with short hair peers out the window, curiosity burning in her eyes. Where is she going with all that? Chloe notices Edie by the window. What are you doing? Is something outside? The director left with some really expensive-looking stuff, Eddie reports. Chloe's eyes widen. What? The witch? Well, Jack looks confused, holding a pink-haired girl. Len watches with concern as the kids gather around. At the market, I recall the book's story of children attempting to escape, only to be caught and dragged back before getting far. Questions swirl in my mind. When is the festival this year? How old are these kids? Searching the director's office yielded no information about the children. Someone who neglects an orphanage clearly doesn't care about the children. All I know is Len had a serious fever when she was 10, a child suffering alone. I'll need to ask Jack about the details when I return. Understanding our current point in the story is crucial to making any plan. I arrive at the carriage rental, relief washing over me. Excuse me, I call out. The man responds. Ah, yes. Phew. Nervously, I approach the man. Excuse me. He stammers back. Yes. I'd like to rent a carriage, I explain. He breaks down the pricing. A carriage is 15 silver coins, and with a driver, it's 35 silver coins. Quick mental math done, I decide, I'll take a round trip, please. We arrive at the jeweler's shop, sunlight casting a soft glow. The driver extends a gloved hand. My lady, allow me to assist you. In this world, escorting is customary, but his leering gaze makes my skin crawl. Thank goodness for my handkerchief. No need, I politely decline. Please wait here. I'll go in alone, I tell the driver. He reluctantly agrees. The jewelry shop sparkles with an array of precious stones. Welcome. The clerk greets me with a smile. I'm here to sell some jewels, I explain. You've come to the right place, he replies. There's no shop that offers better prices than ours, the clerk assures me confidently. Adjusting his glasses, he carefully examines the jewels. These are quite high quality. I believe we can meet your expectations. Would you mind waiting a moment? I smile gently and respond, please, go ahead. These jewels might be worth more than I expected. Looks like the orphanage's finances might finally catch a break. The clerk examines the jewels carefully and says, as expected, These are very fine gems. I'll offer you 650 gold in total. 650 gold equals about 65 million won. Not bad, but I'm not sure about the real market value. This guy seems to think I'm some pushover. I'll show him I'm not someone to underestimate. I challenge the clerk. You think I'm just some clueless girl who doesn't know the value of jewels? He stammers. Clueless? I don't understand. I slam my hand on the table. Are you seriously trying to lowball me? Those expense reports showed over 1,000 gold embezzled over the years. The director used not just donations, but her own money. These jewels have to be worth way more than 650 gold. The clerk panics. No, that's not it. The price comes from a proper appraisal. I respond coolly. I see. Got it. Since I walked in, he's treated me like some ignorant little lady. I won't let that slide. I wanted to believe it was just my imagination. But now, I'm not letting him off the hook. I tap my fingers impatiently and say, your offer proves otherwise, and there's a price to pay for trying to deceive a noble. The clerk looks shocked. A noble? No way! He realizes he's in deep trouble. The clerk bows deeply, stammering, I'm sorry. I ask sharply, are you admitting that you tried to scam me? He panics. It wasn't a scam. I just miscalculated a bit. I glare with a dark threat. Should I shave a bit off your life to match that discount? Not that it's a threat, of course. He begs desperately. I'm truly sorry. I'll pay whatever you want, just please forgive me, the clerk promises. This time, I'll make sure to set a proper price. I warn him sternly. My patience won't last forever. He bows deeply. Of course. Thank you for giving us another chance. I sigh in relief, thinking, whew, that was nerve-wracking. Thank goodness they didn't see through me. I try to calm down. I've never held power before, never stood up to anyone like this. This was the first time I ever spoke so assertively. I realize I can't keep playing the villainous act. It just doesn't feel right. I walk out of the shop feeling lighter and more confident. The driver bows respectfully. Please go safely. I'll escort you to the market, my lady. I count the money carefully. 7 runes and 50 gold. That's a total of 950 gold. Over 90 million won. Not bad at all. I realize the clerk tried to cheat me out of 30 million won. Part of me wants to report him, but I decide to let it go. I'll use this money to buy groceries and new clothes for the kids, and maybe even renovate the crumbling orphanage. But I know from experience, once I start buying things, the money will disappear fast. In Korea, raising a single child costs about 100 million won. For 5 kids, that's 500 million won. I stare at the gold, wondering if this will be enough. I sigh deeply, feeling overwhelmed by the financial challenges ahead. The market bustles around me. I realize just how expensive raising kids will be. Every decision matters now. I walk through the market, surprised by how lively it is. I never knew a place like this existed here. I nervously search for a tailor shop, hoping to sell the noble dresses. A bead of sweat forms as I wonder, where should I go? In the book, tailor shops only dealt with designer-made clothes. There's no way a tailor would buy a used dress, no matter how expensive it is. Tailor shops in the book only handled designer clothes. Selling a used Ciela dress seems impossible. I worry to myself, I'll be lucky if I don't get laughed out of the shop. I spot a promising fabric shop and decide to walk in. This place looks promising. I feel a spark of hope as I look around the shop. Welcome to Clover Fabric Shop. The shopkeeper greets me warmly. I'd like to sell some dresses, I explain. The shopkeeper responds, we can only appraise the fabric after taking the clothes apart. Is that okay? I smile brightly. Yes, that's fine. The shopkeeper looks shocked. These clothes are from high-end boutiques. This dress isn't even in production anymore. Are you sure you want to sell these? She asks. You'll get far less than what you paid. I reply firmly. Yes, all of them. She inspects a green dress and says, at minimum, I could offer 10 gold per dress. For this discontinued one, I could go up to 15 gold. I'm surprised by the offer. I'm offering the best I can. What do you think? The shopkeeper asks. I calculate quickly. About 10 dresses, each at least 10 gold. That's over 100 gold total. I pause, wondering about the true value of these dresses. If just the fabric sells for this much, how expensive were they originally? The shopkeeper insists she's giving me the best deal. I thank her and ask her to wait while she rushes to wrap things up. With the jewel money in hand, I feel like I'm finally on solid financial ground. I spot some adorable children's clothes and suddenly get excited. These would look absolutely perfect on Len with her pink hair. The clothes are just too cute to resist. I can't help but get carried away, imagining how adorable the kids will look in these new clothes. I picture Chloe looking tough in overalls and Lodi looking sharp in tailored shorts. The kids would look so cute. I can manage this much, at least. The shopkeeper asks if I like the clothes. She proudly tells me she made all the clothes herself. I'm genuinely impressed and tell her how amazing that is. The shopkeeper hands me a sparkling bag and announces the total, 164 gold. We exchange polite thanks, completing the transaction. Curious, she asks why I seem so interested in children's clothes. I laugh nervously and explain that I want nice new clothes for our kids. She looks at me with curiosity and asks if I have children. I pause for a moment, then smile and say, yes, 5 of them. The shopkeeper is shocked by my response. I feel proud thinking of the kids as my own, even though they're not related by blood. The shopkeeper repeats her question, do you have children? I smile gently and answer, yes, 5 of them. In my mind, I picture the faces of all 5 children. The shopkeeper exclaims, oh my, and the scene transitions. Looking at the children's clothes, I'm impressed by how well made they are for ready-made garments. The fabric is sturdy and the seams are neat. The shopkeeper explains that they use a special sizing technique for children's clothes. Excited by the quality, I enthusiastically declare, I'll take everything from this section. The shopkeeper is shocked when I confirm I want all 15 pieces. I nod confidently, thinking not a single piece feels like a waste. I can't wait to see the kids in brand new clothes. I realize the kids might be wary, so I'll need to be careful about how I introduce these new clothes. She wraps up all the items and tells me the total is just 1 gold. I'm confused and surprised. 1 gold for 15 pieces? That seems impossibly cheap. The shopkeeper says she's just grateful someone is buying them. I insist she should be paid fairly for her careful work. I'm determined to pay a fair price for the clothes my children will wear. After some negotiation, the shopkeeper agrees to the regular price of 3 gold per piece, promising to prepare more clothes the kids will love. She promises to prepare more clothes that the children will enjoy. I wave goodbye and say, see you next time, Miss Clover. The clock tower chimes, signaling the end of the day. The driver yawns while waiting for me. Suddenly, the driver notices me struggling with my many packages and calls out in surprise. I stagger forward, arms full of packages, determined to bring everything home. The driver helps me with the packages. I realize I'm 26 and already feeling exhausted. When he asks where to go, I reply, to Sela Orphanage. I sigh, realizing I might have gone overboard with my shopping. I remember that Len and Lodi are good at drawing, and Jack is interested in arts. They'll love the art supplies I bought. I imagine the children sitting peacefully under a tree, drawing together. Cloney, the male lead, probably loves Len the most. I picture them sharing drawings and laughing. If I can win Len over, Cloney might follow. I hope to build a better relationship with the kids. In the original story, the plan was to close the orphanage once the kids become independent and start my own life. I've always been the guardian, but I want my next chapter to be different. The carriage arrives, and the driver announces our arrival. I thank the driver and ask him to carry the packages inside. The driver sets down the packages at the entrance. I notice a magic stone instead of marbles and realize I'll need to buy new ones. I head upstairs to deliver the clothes and supplies. I decide to walk quietly up the stairs so I don't startle the kids. I knock on Jack's door, calling out to see if he's available to talk. I quietly announce, I'm coming in for a moment. I open the door and scan the room, but it's completely empty. Panic rising, I rush to another room and call out, Len, are you there? The door opens to reveal another empty space. Confusion sets in. This isn't how the story went, I think to myself. In the original book, only Chloe and Len had run away. Not everyone. The driver shouts from downstairs about the luggage. I race down, my heart pounding. They can't have gone far! I plead for help, realizing something has drastically changed from the original story. Sprinting outside, my mind races with thoughts. They must have a reason to run. With Lodi here, they couldn't have gone too far. But why is everything different? I recall Jai's cold, calculating nature. She wouldn't just flee on impulse. Something must have changed without my knowing. Hurrying through the streets, I finally spot Chloe leading the group. One of the children suggests, maybe we should ask the director for help. Chloe snaps back. That hag would never help us. Remember when Lodi got sick? The kids look uncertain but continue moving. Chloe reminds the group of past cruelties. Instead of comforting us, she just scolded us for crying, he says. Lodi looks up worriedly. Big brother, is Len going to die? Lodi looks up at Jack, repeating his worried question. Len, is she going to die? Jack gently tells him, Lodi, don't say things like that. Lodi continues to worry. What if someone bad shows up? The kids glance around nervously, unsure of their next move. Jack comforts Edie, saying, It's okay. As long as we're together, we'll be fine. Jack checks Len's fever, thinking, This is bad. I shouldn't have brought Lodi and Edie. Where can I find help in this confusing place? Edie sits down and rubs her tired, aching feet, with Lottie looking equally exhausted. Jack tells the group, "If you're all rested, let's get moving again." Jack struggles to carry Len, sweat dripping down his face from pure exhaustion. The kids strain to support Jack and Len, determined to help their sick friend. Jack pants heavily, struggling under Len's weight. Cloney offers, "I'll carry her, take a break." Jack protests, "But you're weaker than me." Cloney insists, "I'm strong too." Suddenly someone shouts, "Oh, look over there!" A man appears at the end of the alley, calling out, "You kids!" Edie and Lodi freeze in place, startled by the sudden call. The man explains urgently, "The lady's been searching everywhere for you! Where were you going?" The kids look both relieved and scared. Cloani asks, confused, "The lady?" I run through the streets, searching desperately. Did they go into the slums? I wonder, hesitating to involve security. A memory flashes. A child once begged me, "Sis, I don't want to go to another orphanage." The child continued, "Can't I just live with you?" Tears streaming down her face. "You said you'd be my mom?" she had cried. The memory strengthens my resolve to find and protect these children. Holding onto a wooden post in the rain, I decide, I'll keep looking. We have to find her, no matter what. Suddenly, a voice calls out from a dark alley. "Lady, over here!" Hope surges through me. "They've found the children! This way!" I run toward the voice, my heart racing with hope. I spot the kids and rush over, asking, "Where have you been?" Cloani looks up, relief washing over his face. "Thank goodness," he says. Overwhelmed with relief, I hug them tightly. I think, I'm just glad they're safe. The kids hug me back. Suddenly I realize I can't breathe. A worried thought crosses my mind. Cielo wouldn't be this close to the kids. I decide to change my approach. I can't confuse them more, I think. I ask Jack, "Why did you leave the orphanage?" Jack replies, "Probably to run away from me." Lottie interrupts, "Len is sick." My heart drops. "Len is sick?" I rush to Len, who's burning up with fever. Jack explains, "Her fever spiked right after the director left. We tried everything, but it only got worse." Edie explains, "We were going to take her to a clinic. We need medicine." I realize grimly that medicine would be impossible in their previous environment. Determined, I lift Len, ready to get her help. I ask the driver, "Can we take her to a clinic?" He responds urgently, "Of course. Hurry and bring the carriage." I worry about Lodi. He's so young to handle all the children. What should I do? Jack steps forward, volunteering to take the kids back to the orphanage, showing his sense of responsibility. Cloani protests loudly, challenging Jack's decision. Jack questions the trustworthiness of the orphanage. I hold Len protectively, determined to ensure her safety. I prepare to leave with the children, feeling a sense of urgency. Cloani challenges me, his eyes filled with distrust about returning to the orphanage. Jack firmly stops Cloani's outburst, trying to maintain control of the situation. The carriage arrives, offering a way out and a path forward for the children. I confirm with Jack about the route back. He confidently confirms he knows the way. I give Jack careful instructions, emphasizing their safety and making sure they have food. Jack agrees quietly. Cloani, surprised, starts wondering about the possibility of eating freely. I realize the children are shocked to learn they can eat whenever they want. Their wide-eyed expressions reveal years of hunger and restriction. I feel guilty realizing Len had been hiding her illness, afraid of being punished. Her fear speaks volumes about her past treatment. Len apologizes softly. I reassure her, realizing how close she was to a serious health crisis. Her safety is my priority now. The doctor assures me Len will recover with proper rest, bringing me a sense of relief. I thank the doctor, feeling grateful for Len's recovery. Watching Len sleep, I notice how thin and fragile she looks, a stark reminder of her difficult past. I realize the children are severely underweight, a painful testament to their neglect. I plan to ensure the children get proper nutrition when we return, determined to help them heal. I check Len's body, remembering a detail from the book. To my relief, the expected scar is missing. I feel hopeful. Without that scar, maybe I can still repair my relationship with the children. Len mumbles in her sleep, revealing deep-seated fears of abandonment. I gently stroke her hair, trying to comfort her and offer reassurance. I promise Len I won't leave her, hoping to soothe her troubled dreams. I reflect on Len's inability to speak up when sick, and how the other children were willing to escape just to help her. I resolve to focus entirely on the children's well-being, setting aside my own concerns. I promise myself I won't cause them any more pain. I need a clear plan to protect and support them. I whisper a promise of protection to Len, hoping she can feel my sincerity. Len is surprised by my protective words. Finding it strange coming from the director she knew before, despite her uncertainty, Len wants to believe in my promise, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. I hope Len can have peaceful dreams, free from her past fears. The next morning, I check on Len's health, concerned about her recent illness. Len insists she's okay, and expresses worry about Lodi, eager to return to the orphanage. I reassure Len and remind her to communicate if she's struggling, wanting to build trust. Len reaches out and takes my hand, a small gesture of connection. I realize I've become comfortable holding the children's hands, a change from my previous self. Len confidently tells me she's ready to go, holding on to my hand. I smile, feeling a growing connection with Len. The simple act of holding hands brings us closer together. I gather our things and prepare to head out with Len. The driver welcomes us to the carriage with a friendly invitation. We climb into the carriage, ready to continue our journey. At the hospital, I carefully explain Len's medications, emphasizing the importance of telling me when she's unwell. I reflect on what I know about the children, their ages, and limited background information. I wonder about the other children not mentioned in the original story, feeling uncertain about their identities. I hesitate, unsure how to ask Len about the other children. Len notices my changed behavior, commenting on how different I seem now. She points out my new actions, taking her to the hospital, buying medicine, which are unlike my previous self. I recognize Len is still afraid, but trying to be brave in facing me. I tell Len directly that I want to change, hoping to build trust and understanding. I open up to Len, promising to be a better guardian. I want her to know she can trust me now, to speak up when she's sick or hungry without fear. As our carriage rolls through the streets, Len sits quietly, absorbing my words of hope and change. We arrive at the orphanage. The driver tips his hat and I thank him, offering to call him again if needed. The driver suddenly blurts out an embarrassed apology, claiming he's never seen anyone as beautiful as me. The driver becomes flustered, worried he's made me uncomfortable. Len and I exchange surprised looks at his sudden outburst. I calmly reassure the driver, expressing gratitude and putting him at ease. I realize he's referring to how he stared at me during our first meeting. I warn the driver to be careful, and he eagerly agrees to remember my advice. I call Len's name as we prepare to enter the building together. Len runs ahead, and Chloe rushes to hug her, relieved to see her. Chloe worries about her health, but Len reassures him that she's feeling much better after her hospital stay. I recall the history between Len and Chloe, both abandoned at the orphanage on the same day. Lodi runs up, calling Len sis. I remember Len's deep connection with Lodi, how she saved him from the streets, and how he became a gladiator to protect her. Their bond is unbreakable, with Lodi promising that anywhere Len is, it's paradise. Lodi wipes Len's tears, comforting her with his unwavering support. I realize Len might be closer to Lodi than to Chloe. Jack expresses relief for Len's recovery. Jack has been the only adult the children could rely on. Chloe tells Jack not to bother Len, showing his protective nature. Jack protests Chloe's accusation. I'm more concerned about Jack's subtle emotions than Chloe's open hostility. I reflect on Jack's personality, recognizing how he's been suppressing himself since arriving at the orphanage. I notice Edie, a girl in a maid outfit who wasn't mentioned in the book. I ask Len to rest and request Jack to follow me to the director's office. I offer Jack cocoa and he hesitantly admits he likes it. Jack notices the office feels different. I encourage him to try the cocoa and he sips it uncertainly. I explain that I'll move all food to the kitchen so the children can eat whenever they want. Jack tastes the cocoa and I ask if he likes it. He nods, mentioning that Lodi would enjoy it too. I suggest Jack make cocoa for the kids, explaining they've had trouble drinking it before. Jack sets down his cup and quietly says, "Director." Jack asks why I called him here. I explain that I want to truly know the children, realizing how little I understood before. I admit my past indifference and the harm I've caused. I promise to create a safe place and build a better future for the children. I plead with Jack to give me a chance, to watch and see if I can truly change. I wait anxiously for Jack's response, knowing this moment could determine everything. If Jack refuses, I'll have to start over without truly knowing the children. Jack honestly admits he doesn't believe I've really changed, but he doesn't want to give up hope for Lodi's happiness. I recognize Jack's true nature, a child willing to set aside his doubts for the possibility of others' happiness. Jack offers to compile information about the children in a sketchbook. I ask him to help distribute clothes from the luggage, and he agrees. I realize Jack is just a child who might not live to become an adult. Perhaps I can change both our futures. I reply yes, and finally get a moment to rest and think. Exhaustion hits me. I realize I can't remember when I last ate. I've been running around non-stop, staying up all night with Len, and still need to organize the orphanage. I decide to take just a short nap before continuing my tasks. Sunlight streams in as I plan a brief moment of rest. I suddenly wake up with a start, disoriented. The clock shows 8:30. I panic, realizing I've overslept. I rush to get ready, frantically apologizing to myself for being late. In my embarrassment, I blush and apologize profusely. I hurry downstairs and hear voices outside. Looking out the window, I see a group of people gathered at the gate. An angry old man stands at the gate, banging his cane and shouting urgently. The old man shouts aggressively, "You got here earlier than anyone, lady." His urgent tone suggests something serious is brewing. The old man erupts in fury. "You brats! Bring the director or open this door!" Jack stands firm, calmly refusing to let him in without permission. The man rages back. "Do you know who I am, you insolent brat?" I approach, confused by the commotion, and ask, "What's going on here?" Seeing Len looking nervous, I drape a warm cloak around her shoulders. "Stay warm, you're not feeling well," I say gently. I beam with pride seeing the children in their new clothes, feeling a rush of affection. I can't help but gush. "Oh my, look at you all in your new clothes. You're absolutely adorable." My excitement bubbles over. The old man interrupts my joy, pointing and yelling, "Director, what is the meaning of this disrespect?" I study the man carefully, thinking, his tone screams nobility, but what could a noble want at an orphanage? He commands authoritatively, "Ciela, let them in." I whisper to Chloe, "Let's head around the back." The children follow me quietly, their steps soft and uncertain. The old man crosses his arms, confident the director will open the door soon. With a bright smile and unwavering determination, I declare, "I refuse." My voice is firm and clear. The old man stammers in shock. "Ciela, what are you saying?" I repeat calmly, "Just as I said." The children watch in amazement, whispering, "Is this really our director?" The old man explodes, "You shouldn't do this to me. Do you know how much you owe me?" I realize he's here to collect a debt, and the children's calm suggests this isn't their first encounter. The old man continues his angry tirade, his voice rising with each word. I turn to Jack and the children, instructing, "Head inside and make some snacks, but come back out when you're done." Jack nods, leading the children inside with a calm demeanor. The old man chuckles menacingly. "Someone threatening us waits inside." But I stand my ground, refusing to be intimidated. I pause, thinking carefully, if there's truly a debt, picking a fight won't solve anything. We sit in the office, tension thick between us like heavy fog. I cross my arms, steeling myself for whatever confrontation is coming. Thunder crashes outside as the old man's glare pierces right through me. He announces triumphantly, "You owe me a whole 1,000 gold!" Then accuses, without state support, "How are you buying all these luxury items?" I realize the truth. Loan sharks. My fist clenches, determination burning in my eyes. He leans in, his voice dripping with knowing sarcasm. "Is that so?" He hands me a document, saying, "Take a look at this promissory note." The note reads, "Ciela Faimont borrowed 1,000 gold coins from Baron Clark." I study it carefully, understanding the gravity of the debt. The document is flawless, sealed with official stamps from both houses. The note's condition is clear. If not repaid by Imperial Year 767, September 5th, she must fulfill the Baron's wish. It's a trap, carefully laid out. The old man asks smugly, "Well, do you have anything else to say?" I calculate quickly. After selling everything, only 108 gold remains, not nearly enough for repairs or living expenses. Surprisingly, he says, "No need to worry. You don't need to repay the debt." When I ask about the catch, he grins. "I'm lonely. I'd like a child of my own." He hints at adoption as a solution to the debt, wanting one of the children as payment. I glare back, fully understanding his manipulative intentions. That night, I sit alone at my desk, processing the day's events. I repeat the word adoption, wondering if this was part of the original story. I flip through Jack's sketchbook, reading his notes on each child to understand our next move. Jack's notes reveal the children's personalities. Cloney is cheerful and proud, loves Len. Len is Cloney's best friend. Lodi is the youngest and capricious. Jack himself doesn't talk much. I find the last entry about Edie, the most recent arrival. Memories start flooding back to me. I can't help but wonder why Edie wasn't in the original book. A memory surfaces. Someone mentioned Edie was adopted by the Baron. Suddenly, there's a soft knock. Edie peeks in, asking hesitantly if she may enter. I hear a knock and turn, alert and curious. A voice calls out, "Director, I?" Edie stands shyly in the doorway, waiting for my response. I welcome Edie and offer her some warm cocoa. Edie cautiously accepts the steaming cocoa, her fingers trembling slightly as she takes the cup. She whispers a soft, "Thank you," her uncertainty hanging in the air like steam from the cocoa. I firmly hand the Baron the money, my voice sharp and clear. "Take this and get out of my orphanage." The Baron erupts in shock, his voice cracking. "Gee, get out! What kind of rudeness is this?" I stand my ground, declaring boldly, "We're not in debt anymore. Whether you get respect or not, that's my decision, not yours." The Baron's fist clenches, trembling with rage as he demands, "Where did you get this money?" His eyes gleam with a menacing threat. "If you borrowed from someone else, you better think carefully." Exhausted by his drama, I roll my eyes and snap, "Ugh, so noisy. If you came for the money, just take it and leave. Why so many words?" The Baron sputters in indignation. "What kind of vulgar language is that?" I reflect calmly, knowing our equal rank gives me the right to speak my mind. The clock ticks closer to noon, reminding me of my next task. I grip my dress, preparing to cook lunch for the children. I firmly tell the Baron that all debts are cleared and request he leave the loan papers. He threatens me with a glare, swearing I'll regret this moment. I make it clear I prefer never to see him again, my tone leaving no room for argument. I watch silently as he departs, a wave of relief washing over me. A sense of freedom fills me as I realize the debts are finally paid off. I concentrate on preparing lunch, my spirits lifted. Cloney bursts into the room, dramatically announcing something urgent about the director. His voice rises with concern, hinting at fears of poisoned food. Jack quickly steps in, scolding Cloney for his wild accusations. The other children exchange nervous whispers, caught between curiosity and concern. Jack admits it's strange that the director suddenly wants to cook for them. Len reflects on the director's promise of protection, sensing a genuine change. Len remembers her past interactions and feels a glimmer of hope that the director might truly care. Cloney scoffs, skeptical of such a sudden transformation. He challenges the idea of change and turns to Edie for her perspective. The other children watch Edie intently, waiting for her response. Edie looks bewildered, caught between agreeing with Jack and understanding Len's point. Cloney demands to know which side she's on, putting her on the spot. Edie stammers nervously, Well, Jack Opa has a point, but..." Edie feels pressured, struggling to articulate her thoughts between Cloney and Len's perspectives. Len looks exhausted, while Cloney tries to support her. Edie reflects on the director's recent kindness, wondering if she truly has changed. Edie recalls the director's past harshness and compares it to her recent gentle behavior. She cautiously agrees that something might have changed. Edie apologizes to Cloney, who is confused by her sudden apology. Jack teases Cloney, telling Edie not to worry so much about others' opinions. The group shares a playful moment, with Len joking around and everyone laughing. I taste the food and smile, pleased with how it turned out. I call everyone for lunch, and the kids gather, looking surprised and suspicious. Jack leads the way, suggesting they check the food carefully. Len kindly invites Edie to join them. Edie smiles, feeling more comfortable and supported. Edie agrees to join, her gentle expression softening the room's atmosphere. I invite everyone in with a warm smile, announcing the meal. The boys peek in, curiosity and excitement dancing in their eyes. I serve a variety of meals, tailored to each child's taste. Cloney looks puzzled by the special treatment. Cloney hesitates, asking uncertainly if they're really allowed to eat such fancy food. I lean forward, playfully asking if they think the food might taste bad. Cloney comments on the noble-like meal, surprised by the luxurious spread. I watch the children, hoping to teach them to appreciate life's simple joys. I notice Cloney struggling awkwardly with his utensils, his nervousness clear. Cloney fumbles with the knife, his cheeks burning with embarrassment. The other children sit stiffly, too self-conscious to enjoy their meal. I understand their hesitation. They're still unsure about the food's safety. I tell Cloney I'm heading to the office, encouraging them to relax and eat comfortably. I contemplate making meals more often to help the children feel more at home. Reality hits me hard. I'm completely broke after clearing the debt. Somehow, a 1,000 gold debt vanished overnight, leaving me with just 108 gold. My remaining funds are painfully small, only 108 gold to my name. Even with DIY repairs, I'll need materials. Basic living costs alone are 3 gold monthly. With education and food costs, this money might last 6 months, if we're lucky. Our future looks grim. We'd be scraping by, barely surviving. There's only one solution. I desperately need a sponsor. Running an orphanage requires financial support, but the previous director's mismanagement cut off all previous support. I need reliable sponsors, and suddenly, one potential contact comes to mind. The man who becomes Cloney's adoptive father and crowns him emperor is my ultimate gamble. If this plan fails, I risk everything. But I have no choice but to try. If successful, he'll become our most powerful potential sponsor. I carefully draft the letter, hoping for the best possible outcome. In a grand mansion, a man begins reading my carefully written letter. The man reads my letter, questioning my bold approach. He immediately orders an investigation into my background. Meanwhile, I continue preparing lunch, wondering if my plan will work. A carriage arrives at the orphanage, bringing unexpected visitors. Rick Henneman, Duke Creeman's aide, introduces himself formally. A silver-haired man delivers the Duke's reply, catching me off guard with his quick response. I'm stunned by how quickly he responded to my letter from just yesterday. Rick hands me the letter, waiting expectantly for my reaction. I read the letter nervously, my hands trembling slightly. The letter invites direct communication if we share similar thoughts. Rick asks what I'll do, his monocle glinting with anticipation. I realize this is exactly what I hoped for. There's no reason to refuse. I agree to go, but first, I need to prepare the children. I give strict instructions to the children about staying safe while I'm gone. I prepare sandwiches and give detailed safety instructions to the children. Cloney interrupts, showing he's becoming more comfortable with me. I'm touched by how the children are starting to feel more at ease. I remember the last time I wasn't careful, the children disappeared. I promise to return quickly and ask if they want anything from the market. Cloney looks surprised by my unexpected offer. Cloney blushes and nervously stammers about wanting cutlets. I tease him playfully, leaning in to hear his mumbled request. He insists it's not about liking the cutlets, but I find his reaction adorable. I continue teasing Cloney and ask the other children what they want. Lodi eagerly requests the same dish Jack had. I confirm it's Omiris and turn to Len and Edie for their choices. Edie hesitates briefly before agreeing to have fried rice with Len again. The twins share a tender moment that catches me by surprise. Cloney looks puzzled by the unexpected bond between Edie and Len. The orphanage feels different now. Warmer, more like a real home. Jack keeps a watchful eye on the children, his protective instincts clear.